Hey folks, we're at the Hasty Bake headquarters here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we got something special going on, so come on, let's go inside.
Hasty Bake is the oldest charcoal grill company in the country. We buy all American steel. We use an all-American labor force right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's nothing new about a barrel smoker. Barrel smoker's been around for a long time, and one of the things that makes a barrel smoker or a drum smoker work so well is when you intake that air comes in real slow, and then it kind of convects inside that barrel. But the problem is that if you're hanging something, that convection works great because it's real slow air moving in a swirl. But most people aren't hanging stuff anymore. A lot of people are actually putting stuff on the rack. And that convection that goes through is really not spinning as much as you think it is on a drum. So when we came out with the Roughneck, we did a bunch of thermal testing and discovered that drums and barrel smokers in general are not actually convecting as good as you think they are. It's the same convection design we use in a Hasty Bake, where that air comes in slow on the bottom, cycles through, and exits below the grate level, so it swirls that heat and that smoke. So we actually think it's better than a drum, it's better than a barrel, but it is a heat source located on the bottom with the use of a heat shield. So it cooks like one, but it just cooks better.
You know, when we first started talking about we wanted something that was better than a drum, you know, me and you and Rich, and that's been probably a year and a half ago.
Yep, about right.
That thing will run about any temperature you want it.
Absolutely.
And set it and keep it. Because I know we had one, when we did that one at the house, we had it 220 for about 16 hours.
Yeah.
And it never fluctuated, never put no wood in it.
Unlike 98% of drum smokers out there, barrel smokers, we actually have a fire door on ours. So you don't have to pull your meat out, you don't have to pull the grates out to do anything to your fire. You just unlatch this fire door that has a full gasket all the way around it, so it seals like a vault. This is made of heavy-duty steel. It's got a nice thick piece of expanded metal on the bottom. One of the biggest pains in the butt when you're using a barrel smoker is to have to take everything out, bang it out, get all that ash out, squirt the inside out with a water hose or something like that to get it nice and clean. What I do on this is I put a sheet pan on the ground right in front of it. I take a coal rake and I just scrape all that ash directly onto the sheet pan, and this thing's clean. No pressure washing, no dumping, no heavy lifting, nothing like that. Your heat shield on the previous one dropped in.
Yes.
This one slides in.
Oh, I like that even better, my friend.
So some people like to run them without a heat shield. Some people like to run them with. It's got these tabs. Now, we're going to factory bend those, and you want those that direction so it kind of moves your convection toward the back. But we factory bend those, but you can take a pair of pliers and bend those however you want. So if you find when you put the heat shield in, you're like, I like the smoke, but I need a little bit more heat, rather than running a hotter fire, you can bend those tabs up a little bit, let a little bit more heat through. If you think it's running too hot, you can kind of push them back down. So it gives you a little bit of customizability. The handles you had on your revision were rebar. I love the look of the rebar, but they get hot as tar. So what we've done is we formed these handles out of real heavy gauge steel, put a nice spring on it, they stay nice and cold. If you're moving this thing back and forth, taking it to the lake, taking it to barbecue competitions, you want the wheels on it. So we put that wheel kit on the side here, and then we include one extra handle on the back. And the reason we do that is when this latches on nice and tight, take this thing up like a dolly and walk away with it. Let's open this thing up again, fully gasketed lid. When we first started, we were only gasketing the Firebox. And we liked it, but I noticed it was still leaking a little bit more air. So we gasketed this whole lid and put the latches on it. The thing seals up like a bank vault. This is us paying a little bit of homage to you with the cast iron.
There we go.
We like cast iron grates. We think you season them up right. They become basically non-stick anyway. They add a little bit of extra flavor to it. Also, they just look really, really cool. So, and if you buy the extra grate kit, some people don't need that extra space, but if you do need the extra space, we actually have a set of rails in here, and you got a second set of grates down here. They're about 7 inches below the top grate. And what that means is that's plenty of room for you to be able to put another brisket or some pork butts or something like that underneath it. Put a drip pan to catch your drippings if you want to. This is our hanging rack. So you take these grates out, and we got this rack. This is going to come with every single one of them. It's all notched out for these little S hooks. Space them out. I mean, you can probably get 12, 14 racks of ribs hanging from that if you want.
And the people that complain to me on drum smokers is when you hang them ribs in there, you was like this far from the fire.
Oh yeah, you got to flip them constantly to keep them from burning. You could run one cooking grate right next to it where they're hanging. So if you wanted to hang your ribs right here and cook a brisket at the same time, you could. You don't have to worry about trying to get an extra grate, trying to hang a brisket over rebar or anything like that. We top this thing off with a wonderful tell-true thermometer. So if you want that tell-true add-on, a lot of guys like the digital thermometers. If you do, we got a bolt right here. You can take that bolt out, run your probe through if you'd like to. Probably my favorite thing about this is drum smokers in general, the paint and the finish doesn't last very long on them. I mean, you burn that paint up, that powder coat up, you're having to constantly touch it up, or it chips. When we built this, we took some inspiration from Bertha, and the Rollins signature model Bertha is made out of Corten steel. And Corten steel it's an architectural grade steel, and it's made to rust but not rust through. So that rust actually forms a surface seal and blocks it from any kind of rust through. So I mean, the things last forever. So right now this is nice and pretty because it's been indoors. But you'll notice the one that you guys have out on the ranch is nice and rusty. It's a beautiful patina. You can sling some grease on it. You can wipe it down. You can hose it off. It's going to continue to change and over the years and look. And if you really like the look of it and you don't want it to change, oil it down, some linseed, some grapeseed oil, something like that. It'll start locking that patina in. It won't change a lot. But if you like having kind of a fun art piece that changes the backyard every now and then, you leave that thing exposed, let the rain on it, doesn't hurt anything. It just turns into a really cool, rustic looking cooker.
Don't get no better than a Hasty Bake Grill and a Roughneck smoker.
Thanks for coming
Bless
out.
you, my friend.
You as well.